How is it to work and to make theater there with such collective trauma?
I believe everywhere you go, you took your context with you in your body. You know, it's like you're holding everything with you to go to another place.
Hello and welcome to IETM Global Pod, a brand new podcast series as part of our Global Connect program featuring international conversations to members of our network. Each episode will invite 3 performing arts professionals to dissect a key aspect of their purposes and practices that connect them across different continents, exploring commonalities, differences, and impacts in their local communities and international collaborations. In this very first episode of the IETM Global Pod, Global Connectors Brahim Jumaa from Syria and Silvia Tomotaki from Peru, alongside their moderator Michael de Kock from Belgium, discuss the political dimensions of theatre creation. So tune in and enjoy the episode.
Hello everybody, wherever you are. Welcome for the IETM Global Pod. My name is Michael de Kock. I'm Artistic Director of the KVS in Brussels, where I am right now. And I will be Director of the Théâtre de Liège, starting from September, between 2 theaters I am for the moment. But I'm also, and that's why I'm here today, talking with 2 very interesting people from 2 different sides of the world. From Lima, Peru, there's Silvia Tomotaki. Good morning, Silvia.
Good morning.
8 o'clock in Lima, right? In the morning.
8:30 now. Yeah.
Very early. Good to be with us. And Brahim Jumaa from Damascus, but joining us from London. Hello, Brahim.
Hello, Michael. Hello, Silvia.
I'm very thrilled. You know, one of the main reasons why I like making theater and why I'm in this profession is because it gives me the possibility to meet people who share the same passion as I do, but who live really in a totally different context and work in a totally different country. But to meet them for those encounters, I think I like doing that, and I like IETM for that reason. So to start, can you present yourself like in a take the time to present yourself in a few minutes or in a few sentences? Who are you? Why are you doing theater? What's your dream and what are you making for the moment? Silvia.
Well, it's a big question. I'm from Lima, Peru, and my main work is centered on biography and memory. I think that's the core of my work. I have made a lot of participatory processes. I've been working like 8 years with inmates here in prisons in Lima, mostly male inmates. And also I have like my theater group. It's called Plástico and Pop, and that's like kind of a laboratory of performative self-writing, like I like to call it. And I'm also in theater, I think, because of that, because it can make you meet people that you maybe in other contexts you can talk to or be in touch with, not only like making theater, but also when you go to watch plays, you can access to another part of the stories, more connected to the affection, more connected to memory. And also that's the kind of theater I like to watch. Yes.
Okay, great. Very interesting. We'll get back to that. Brahim.
Hello. I'm Brahim Jumaa from Damascus, Syria. I lived between Damascus, Tunisia, and now in London. Actually, I'm a theater maker, I'm a dramaturg, and also a teacher. I studied in the Higher Institute of Dramatic Arts in Damascus, and I'm working in theater since 12 years now. I like to work in a collaborative method all the time. I like to meet other people from other backgrounds, other generation, other cultures, and create the work with them. So that's why I moved between multiple cities. I started with text-based dramaturgy, and now I'm creating performances in a post-dramatic way. I'm interested in physical theater, and actually I started theater by coincidence because I was aiming to study writing, and there is no writing department in Damascus. So they told me that okay, there is like this dramatic studies in this institute. So I said okay, it's close enough. So so that's why I started. And when I started working in theater, I discovered that I prefer the collective research more than the individual processes. So that's why for me theater is a space of encounter. It's also a space for meeting others, discussing, experimenting together, and exchange. Also in my context in Damascus, it's not that common, the collective gathering in public spaces. So that's why for me theater has an important aspect in that way, because it makes people meet and talk and share and etc.
Okay, yeah, that's the power of serendipity. So you wanted to be a writer, and now you end up in theater. You worked on text by Pinter also, huh?
Yeah.
But now you write yourself. You go to this collective writing. Of course, I think the people watching this show already see that you have lots of things in common. Let's start with where you work. I mean, let's go to Damascus and to Lima. How does the environment impact your work? Because of course Damascus, Syria, just coming out of this terrible war, reconstructing, lots of Syrians going back home. How is it to work and to make theater there with such collective trauma, with such events?
Actually, I started working in 2013 when the war is starting and it's growing little by little. So, of course, in Damascus, it's not the same as other cities, because in Damascus it's more safe. It's still a bit dangerous to go out, but it's not like other cities in the north or in the south of Syria. Still, working in this environment is challenging, but it kept me motivated actually, because you have to always to find ways to do things. Like of course in periods of war there is no, like, let's say, no electricity in Damascus. So if you have to work through that, you have to find aesthetics ways to deal with this, like chargeable lighting, going to alternative spaces with natural lightings, etc. So you have to always. It kept me motivated actually all the time, because it developed your tools, your artistic tools, all the time. Also, you can't in a way talk about sensitive issues, political, sociological, etc., because there is like a big kind of censorship in Damascus. So you have to turn around this topics, not to. You have to be clear, but you're not facing the government, not facing the police. You try to avoid this confrontation.
Is there a need and a hunger for theater? And do you see it shift during war, after war, now? Is there what subjects are being staged, and do you see a shift there?
Yeah, during the war, I think there's like a big hunger for theater, because it was the only collective gathering you could have in the city. There's like nothing else. So people want to go out, want to see something new about the topics. Actually, it's not like there's no topics about war or about politics. People try to build stories around daily life, because that's what was important for the people to watch. That's why I did an adaptations for text that with a plot structure, because people trying to see a mirror for their daily life, try to understand, to feel like, okay, we all feel the same, we all feel in danger. After the fall of the regime and the war ended, there is, I think, it's not clear for now because it's been for 1 year and a half for now. The Assad fall in December 2024. So still we're trying to figure out what's changing now. We have a different regime. It's a bit difficult right now economically and politically. So it's still not clear for now.
Okay. Silvia, how situation in Peru to make theater? The conditions,
I think now in Peru, we are like, next week we are going to have another presidential election. And the climate here is around that, the instability. We have had like 8 presidents in 10 years, and most of them are now in jail. And there's kind of a big depression now, because the conservative wing it's also very corrupted, and it has like a lot of chance to win the election now, and it's going to be a lot of cuts in rights. The most women and diversity suffer a lot of cut in rights and access to programs. And I think the climate now is around that lack of hope. And in theater, it has been like a theme in theater. Now on, there's a lot of political plays. There's no like an explicit censorship around them, so you can openly critique the the political structure. But I think there's like this kind of lack of hope that is in everything. The looking for an alternative is now kind of dark, but there's also a lot of waking in the activism. I think we are not only, as theater makers, we are not only present in theater, but we are also present in protests a lot. We are like a block there, and it made everyone connected in a kind of way. We are like very related now in resistance. And I will also say like precarity is maybe another thing. Like if you don't have like strong structures, culture is going to be the last thing you start looking for. So artists here, we have to survive, be in survival mode. I, like an older theater maker told me, we paid for the theater we want to do, so we have to look for the everyday, like working in another kind of things, and also try to pay the work we are doing in theater and to create the theater we want to do.
is it possible to make a living out of theater?
It's possible, but it's possible just for a few people, I think. We have like institutional theaters that are going to pay you for rehearsals and for having, I don't know, to put the plays, and it's a more established job. But then you have to create your own work, and then I don't know if that's called a job, of course, but it's on your own, the income, for example, and that's, I think, the majority for the artists here. And the funding is also quite short. We just have the funding for the Ministry of Culture, and there you have to submit the thing you want to talk about, and of course, if it's something that it's not in order to the political structure now on the presidency, it's not going to be allowed to happen. So that's kind of a filter for what things to can be put on stage and whatnot.
So you were talking about censorship, about protesting. Do you feel safe doing all that? I mean, are the voices protesting still louder than, because you were talking about rights being cut? What rights are you referring to then? And do you feel threatened as a theater maker, or do you feel safe and surrounded to do your work?
In the context of protests, as a citizen, there has been a lot of like murders without having justice, and a lot of them have been like young people, and I think that when everything started, when we started going out on the streets, like one death like was a lot, so it can make one president go away, and we have like a process to have new elections and a new president. But now we have a lot of death without justice, so it's like more common to be to have a lot of violence in protests. And
Yeah.
in the
You
context of theater, I think there's like no the censorship is not threatening lives. It's more like the precarity, I think so.
you work in the independent. You work as an independent theater maker.
Now I work as an independent theater maker, yes.
How is it? Is it easy to find rehearsal space? Is it easy to find actors? Because you've been talking about this participatory project, but how much of your time goes to productional stuff, and how much of your time can you just work?
Uh, for example, the work I have in prisons, I was there since like for 8 years, and now I'm not working there, but it was like associated with a university, so the university can't have a budget for the project. That is kind of expensive because all prisons here are too far away from the center of the city, so just in transportation it's a lot of budget that you have to support the project with, and a lot of time also of your day it's going to be like 1 to 2 hours, like going to the prison, then having there the workshop, and then going out, and you have like 6 hours of your day off. So it's kind of all the day of working time. Uh, and there's like support of institutions, so you can do that kind of projects. But I think that, and there's a lot of people also that would like to be on projects even without having a pay. Um,
Yeah.
that's kind of the, I don't know.
Let's talk later about your project with the inmates, because it's very interesting. Let's talk a little bit. You both have connections with Europe, but first I will go to Brahim, who's living now in London. I would like to know from both of you how you relate to European theater, and as well in the production phase, but also as well as because you work in European countries. I mean, and as well as production, as well as what we can learn from you. But first, Brahim, why did you move to London?
I'm here for. I have a few opportunities to make a residencies in local theater here in London. So I came here to. I'm currently working on a new project entitled "Where's My Heart," and it's about the connection between imagination and war. Can
Imagination and
we
war.
war? Yeah. It asks the question: Is war? Can we consider war a kind of performance in a way? Is there like characters, plots? I don't know. I'm trying to investigate this. It's a part documentary, part fiction performance. So I'm invited to a residency here. So I came here to do that. So I'm new here actually. So it's been like
Is
four or
it
5 days now. Yeah.
4 or 5 days? Are you getting settled?
Yeah, kind of trying to still. Yeah.
Is it hard? Are you homesick or are you excited?
I'm still excited. I'm not homesick for now. Because but I have the experience of living abroad because I lived in Tunisia
Yeah.
for a few years. So yeah, I'm used to it a
But
bit.
what about, are you talking about the performatic, the aestheticization of war? Or how politicians make a narrative of it? Or can you develop a little bit more what you want to research there?
Yeah. How politician narrated the war. It's an important aspect. Actually, it's a three layers project. The first one is a documentary layer that investigate the wars starting 1990 in the Middle East till now. It's like the last 35 years in the Middle East because I was born in 1991, and it was like I opened my eyes to wars. Like Gulf War first and the second, and
It's
then
always
Palestine.
been there.
Yeah, so it's always like unstable. It's like there's unstable reality for me all the time. So I'm trying to investigate this using the narratives by the politicians and also the names of weapons. I'm trying to to research about how armies named their weapon and use it as a part of the narrative. This is a documentary layer, and there is like a fictional layer about a kid searching for his lost heart. That's why it's called "Where's My Heart." Yeah, he wakes up and he finds out that like there's no heart anymore. So he went out, he journeyed to find his heart, his missing heart.
Okay.
And the third layer is the autobiographical aspect layer. It's about my experience and my collaborators' experience with war and how we can connect it to imagination. Because if we can consider war is an act of imagination as well as art, is it the same? Is it the same mechanism? Can we, if we can imagine the reality before living it, is it kind of a rehearsal? It's like, are we rehearsing our reality, our violence, our and act it in a way, do it in the reality, let's say, what we call reality. So that's what I'm investigating right now. It's still in the research phase for now, but yeah.
Uh, y- um, I was talking about this situation working. How different is it to work in London for you? And the second thing, and I will get back to Sylvia also with that question later. This auto fiction thing, because you always work with your own. You make like a subject of your own character on stage. Also, I mean, you feel both the need to invest in lives, whether others or your only life, and to stage it. So, how is it for you to work in London? And
Uh,
why do you want yourself as this layer in this new show?
okay, actually, the two questions are connected for me because the autobiographical aspect in my work started in Tunisia because I felt like where I am, I was creating a performance with Tunisian collaborators, and I thought like, okay, I can't find myself in this performance. I need to be in it as a fictional character, as a so that's where it started. And also the topic of the performance was about ourselves, about encounter, because we met, me and the Tunisian collaborator in Tunisia once while I was presenting a work there, and we decided to write letters during the lockdown, the COVID lockdown. So it was like a performance based on encounter. We try to exchange what we think about theater, about societies, about revolutions, about everything, about love, using the letters. So after that, we decided to create a performance using these letters as a textual text perform. So it was me as a main dramaturgical. My story, it was like the main dramaturgical thing in the work. So that's where the autobiographical thing started. But also, and I did it also in the next performance in Tunisia, and now I'm trying to develop it. And also I use it as not as a truth. It's for me, it's like a perspective. It's like an investigation all the time, because I don't think the I in the performance is stable, because like, even when I'm acting a character, there is me, there is my body, my voice, my looks, my everything, but I'm doing actions that are not mine, if I'm doing Hamlet or I'm doing anything, like it's
Well,
like. And
it's at least,
yeah, so there is
yeah,
like a tension here. I'm trying to investigate. I'm trying to understand. So yeah.
it, in any case, even playing yourself becomes a ritual of playing yourself. But what does the distance do? Because you're in London now. Distance from your hometown has an impact on your looking at yourself.
Of course, it makes you look. Um, it makes your story clearer a bit, because you see it from distance. You are outside of your context. You are outside of comfort zone. You are outside. So, but the tricky thing here is like, I don't like to explain my story in the performance. So I'll always try to find the balance, because there's like a different audience here, or even in Tunisia. They don't know exactly my context. So there's like something tricky to balance, like between my story and the performance, and trying to not just explaining yourself, like,
You want to keep the mystery there, and you want to like stage yourself as a okay.
yeah.
Sylvia, how do you relate to all that when you hear it?
I think, as Brahim says, part of my work, like life itself comes into. I was like last year I was making this piece called "Talking to the Dead," hablar con muertos, and I started with talking about, or wanted to talk about, the morning of my father's death. So I started investigating about death and losing someone it's really close to you and you really love. And then I had this opportunity to travel to Berlin to go to the International Forum, and it's like this meeting for theater makers, and we were watching a lot of theater and having workshops, and it was kind of like very inspiring for me to making this piece. But I also met there three friends, one from Ukraine, one from Iran, and then I started to be more like conscious about war and death in the global world. And when I returned back to Lima and start rehearsing again, I can't forget like the faces of my friends in every news I was having about war in these different places. And then I started like thinking like the death of my father is kind of little in front of this world having death all the time. And in some way this starts being part of the play itself. And I have like this Japanese heritage. My father was from Japan,
Mm-hmm.
um, and there's this river of death called the Sansu. So when you dead, you have to cross the river. You have like 28 days to cross it, and then you are where, I don't know, where dead people start like this
It's in many
new living
traditions. The
life.
river, the river as a distinction between life and death exists in many traditions. I think you know.
Yes, like this kind of bridge. And it started taking that form. My father was like crossing, and I imagine, or well, I was dreaming of my father there, like meeting a lot of other deaths, but deaths loaded with horror. And the conclusion of the play was that kind of, it's not about the death because you have a life to live and it has to end, but it's the horror and the horror that war is coming with, and a lot of deaths that will have not to end in that way. It was like I don't know what I was suffering about. And I think it's kind of that in my processes, I start with something very, very personal, and then it starts like relating to everything around me, in new experiences, but also it can be like a point to start looking to the past or to uh, other places, and everything starts like connecting in the process, and the piece is the result of that. Maybe it's the result of the meetings of the time of the rehearsal, what I meet and relate to, and how they connect and make the form of the piece.
Habla con Muertos is a very personal topic. It's about the death of your father. With the inmates, you worked 8 years. Can you, nevertheless, how different the subjects are, talk a little bit about your methodology? Is there a link between both shows, and what does it tell about you, or are they totally different work?
Uh, we in prisons we also work from a biographical point of view, and I think it's kind of similar because it's to acknowledge that the political context is not abstract but it's embodied. So when I work with this uh, with the participants of the workshop, they were like young people from 20 to 30 years. So in that time, they were like the same age as me, and that was very beautiful because I think that I can relate to them like my friends, and not like to put them just in this cage of you are an inmate and uh, uh, you infringe the law and you are here, like to take away the punish view, because the punish view is there, is not going to be anyway. But then you can open another kind of doors, like to be young, like to be a young man, because masculinity is a very big topic in prisons, in male prisons. Uh, like to be a son or a parent, like to have dreams, and like to have, I don't know, like also suffering from what can you say.
Did you have public showings from that show with the inmates, with the prisoners?
Yeah, we try to end every year making a piece and to show that piece. And sometimes it's inside the prisons. So I don't know, people from the university, because it's very connected to the Pontificia Universidad Católica here, that it's like the institution to support the project. So we try to relate students and professors and everyone inside the university and take them inside the prisons. And other times we can make we can present the piece in a public theater, and the families can go to the theater, and something like really beautiful that
What
happens like once someone asked that my family has to be very early in the prison to have the visit with me, but now she was very early, my mother was very early, like to visit me at the theater, so it's kind of an other
what did you
experience.
learn? What did you learn from that? It must be very intense. But what did you learn from all these projects every year with the inmates? If you, because of course it's a group of people who are put out of society, often with a lot of shame and a lot of a lot of there's a lot of issues entering. A lot of people don't want to put them away and forget about them. What did you learn about humanity and about theater working in that context?
I think that humans, we are very resilient, and can also we always can look our own history, uh, depends on I don't know. We can look it with hope. Although it's important to recognize that all people in prisons, or talking about my own context, it's also they are also victims of poverty. So it's I can put you apart in a prison and I can say you're far away because you did that. Yes, of course. But as a society, there are some structures that made some people and some groups being in prisons, and we
You
have
mean it's
to
also
take note of it.
socio-economic reality?
Yes, of course. You can go and see. You can ask yourself, why are all these young people very alike, like living in the same places, like uh, having like abandon of the fathers, like that it's very important in and very part of every history, I think, and why they don't finish school in some cases, and it's all about poverty. It's talking like it's like a dictatorship of poverty. Then you finally end up on prisons.
Okay. Brahim, what do you think that from your point of view, of course, we're talking here in a global context, but since you're working now for a part in London, how important for you is it to work in London now and to be able to tell a story? Is it just for you a good opportunity to have a good condition to work, or is there something you want to share to a audience there and that you can bring that others don't bring yet because they don't have your experience? What story do you want to tell there?
I believe everywhere you go, you took your context with you in your body. You know, it's like you're holding everything with you to go to another place. So actually, in London, I think it is important that that the other side of the story could hear it. You know, if we're talking about wars, like there's like one side and there's other sides, and I think it's important to tell this story here because we have like a region suffering from this since long time right now. So I think this perspective, not in a victimhood way, you know, it's like just telling a story, trying to critically think about it and question it.
Mm,
It's not about being a victim or a hero. It's about just
Mhm.
being you in and asking the right question in the right place. So here, of course, the conditions is better, but it's not the matter. But it's the important thing is like to be the different voice, to try to
exactly.
be
Let
the
me
different voice.
reframe that. Let me reframe. How important for you is it, and for you, Sylvia, to be able to share that story with the world?
It is important. It's not the most important thing. It is important, but for me, the most important place is Damascus. You know, it's like the place where I was, where I from. So I always
Okay.
go and go back, go out and go back because I try to get back the experiences I get outside, and then because when I went back 6 months ago to Damascus, I was teaching in the Higher Institute of Dramatic Arts, and it was like the most meaningful act I've done since 2 3 years ago because
To teach in
it felt like
Damascus.
I did a course about theatralizing the news with the dramaturgy students, and I did a workshop about Samuel Beckett with the acting students. So it was most meaningful because the young practitioners in Damascus now felt isolated from the world because of the siege around Syria, you know.
Yeah.
So it is really important to stay connected with this community. So it was the most meaningful things I've done this 2 years. So this is the most important for me. I like to go out. I like to tell my story everywhere. I like to share. I like to exchange with people, collaborate, encounter. But I always think that I'm gonna go back. and tell these stories to people. Try to connect these people with the international scene, because it's difficult to do that in
Sylvia,
Damascus.
how? Thank you. It's very beautiful. What you were saying about this most important project of teaching in Damascus, Ibrahim. Sylvia, um, how important for you is it to tell your story, to share your story with the world, and to represent Lima? I mean, to be like an ambassador of these stories that we have no access to.
I think that that's the most important, like to make able to or that I can speak from a local voice. When I was like just go out of the university and I made a play. It was like I was in the festival in the FAE, in the Festival of Artes Escénicas de Lima, and a lot of programmers came to watch the plays. And one of them told me like, "Oh, the play is beautiful. I don't know, but it won't tourist. It's too local." And now I think like 10 years after that, the that point of view is not valid anymore. That kind of change, we are like more hunger to to tell local stories, and I think we are all more like open to know you from where are you from, like to identify
Mm,
like a specific point of view that only you can tell me how you live
yeah,
that, and with that conscious of the privileges and where are you speaking from also.
like Rainer Maria Rilke says, the poet. There's only one story that you can tell yourself. So, I agree totally with you. Too local doesn't exist. I think it must be very interesting to get to know your individual stories to understand more about humanity. Listen, I have like one final question for the both of you. Be sharp and to defend the arts, but what can theater mean in this crazy f up world we're living in today, globally, with all these crises? What can theater mean? And like try to tell me in 1 minute from the heart for you what it means to make theater and what's the power of it. Brahim, you start.
Okay, it's a difficult question, but I think theater started with from ritual, and I think the ritual is something like make people gather and share the same thing. I think it still has the same quality for now for me. It's like encounters. It's like trying to be resilient through collaborations, through working with others, through meet people like you, believe the same ethics, because it's kind of uh, difficult mission right now. Not to say impossible. It's
Okay.
like it's like difficult to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it.
Sylvia, how do you see that?
I ask myself the question all the time, like why to keep going and pushing. And what I like about theater is like this opportunity to be together and to think together, but to think together in a critical way and with the whole body, not just with the mind, but with the heart and with the liver and with the stomach. And that quality, I only found it in theater. So that keeps me going, and it's the place when anger can turn out in something beautiful.
Oh, wow, very beautiful. Brahim, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I think I am gonna still do what I'm doing. I'm traveling, going back to Damascus, traveling, going back to working in new projects, trying to meet different people,
Okay.
think together, and yeah.
When can we see your new show?
I think in the next year, 2027, I think.
Okay. Sylvia, when is your
Yeah.
next show on that we can see?
I think I'm going to make like an open view on May. Yeah, I hope so.
Okay. And what's your dream for to be in 5 years?
I hope I'm on the stage, stay there.
On a stage somewhere. All right. I really want to thank you both for getting to know each other a little bit better and to share all these beautiful stories. I'm really looking forward also to see you live very soon and to discover your work. Tell me if there's something you want to share, and otherwise we'll wrap it here. And yeah, wishing you the best.
Thanks for the opportunity to be together. It was really nice.
Thanks to ATM.
Thank you very much.
Brahim?
Thank you.
All
Thank you for
right,
this
thank you.
opportunity. I'm really glad to meet two of you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the IETM Global Pod. If you want to know more about IETM and our Global Connect program, you can head on over to ietm.org. We'd like to thank the IETM associate members and the European Union for co-funding the IETM Global Connect program and making this podcast possible. This podcast was produced by Margarita Petit, Lottie Atkin, Giselle Musabimana, and Ilaria DeMarc, and it was recorded, edited, and produced by Ben Phoenix from Nexi Media.